Welcome to another great episode of American Rifleman Television. Now this week we're wrapping up our series on the Americans in the Great War. A lot of Americans fought in France. 10,000 a day were arriving at some points, and some of those men were snipers. We'll look at the sniping rifles used by Americans, but also how we remember the men who fought and died. For this week's Rifleman Review, Joe Kurtenbach is heading to the range with the Winchester SX4 shotgun. For I Have This Old Gun, we'll look at a carbine used by the German Army towards the end of World War I, and that's the Mauser Model 98A. But right now, let's look at the men and guns of the AEF in World War I. Starting in the trench warfare in the fall and winter of 1914, German snipers wreaked havoc on the British and the French. And it took them a little while to catch up, to develop sniping schools, to develop proper sniping rifles and sniping tactics. So that when the Americans entered the war in 1917 and entered combat in 1918, the British knew what they were doing. In particular, they had instructors that they sent to the United States so that when American soldiers went over as snipers, they not only knew what they were doing, but they had the benefit of American marksmanship training and British tactical training.
The NRA played no small role in this. Camp Perry, which we know of today for the annual matches, in 1918 became a large sniper school. This was the most formal and longest of all the sniper schools around the country, and indeed it too had 5 British sniper instructors. To include H.W. McBride, Herbert McBride, who wrote the book, A Rifleman Went to War. But interestingly, the camp and the senior officers were all senior officials of the National Rifle Association, and it made great sense. These were Olympic-level American shooters who had been members of the National Guard, or some were even commissioned, having had no past military background, and they became the nucleus for what was called the Small Arms Training School.